Stand by to initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5,
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2, 1. Mark.
Welcome back to the Resupply with me, Guy Next Door.
Me, DK.
And me, Van.
Bringing you your weekly double tap of all things Space Marines and Laser Force. This better be a good stream to make you feel better, Shawnee.
No pressure. No pressure.
We shall see.
Oh, I guarantee this will be one of our best 150 episodes ever.
Episode 150, you're right. Crazy we've done 150
We'll be in the
of these.
top 150.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Somewhere in there.
It's important to set a baseline, which it may end up being what today is all about. Very nice to see you, fellas. We're on a roll. We're on a bloody roll. We've been doing some shows and talking about lasers, even though, I mean, there has been some stuff. There's been some stuff happening, but not really anything happening to us from a laser.
I mean, I have a trip booked now. I'm excited.
Ooh.
Like, I'm already shifting my brain space into, like, getting toward tournament mode.
Did you hear that, Al? Get your ticket booked. DK's booked his.
Yep. It's totally for Auckland.
That's right.
Definitely not for a different tournament at all.
Yeah, so nice to see you, chat. Very nice. Thank you for coming to hang out with us. It's wonderful to see your bloody names popping up all over the place. DK booked for Utah. But yeah, very nice to see you all. Today we're gonna do something a little different, but we'll talk about that shortly. First things first, though. How was the week, fellas? Like, what have you been up to? Then you've got a lot on your plate at the moment. Trying to get it off your plate.
I mean, I do and I don't. Like, I have one thing on my plate. Sell my fucking house. Like, literally, once that is off my plate, like, everything else falls into place. But that's a big fucking thing on my plate right now. Like, it's just fucking massive. And I think I mentioned this last week, and if I didn't, well, not everybody listens all the time, and you guys are here to hear us talk, right? So whatever. Like, I have missed the peak of the market literally by between like 8 to 10 weeks.
Oh, that sucks, dude.
And not only have I missed the peak of the market has has flipped so fast that, like, it's, I mean, and don't get me wrong, it needed to. It was real estate, very overheated, this, that, the other. There's a whole bunch of stuff like with that. But it couldn't have waited like 8 more weeks until I was done. Like, that would have been really cool. But
I often find the universe is inconsiderate that way.
Yeah, the universe is just not just not, as far as that goes. But I've got the house. I had to reduce the price on the house again, which sucks. But what are you gonna do? And I've got and I do have a showing booked for tomorrow. So hopefully hopefully get a couple more of those, this weekend. And yeah, I mean, I'm not into like panic mode yet. I'm still annoyed and irritated. Another couple of weeks.
Isn't that your baseline though?
I was gonna say, Dan, annoyed, irritated. That doesn't sound good.
Exactly. So I'm pretty much in baseline right now. So it's fine. Ask me again in another few weeks if like nothing has changed, and I may have a slightly different perspective on that. I mean, it's like, is there a way that I could close on the new place in Oregon without selling this house? There is, but it'd be long-term financially very detrimental, so it's not something I really want to do. And there is literally a worst case scenario of I have to just basically pull out of the contract of the new house and I lose 10 grand.
Oof.
Like that is literally the worst. That is literally pretty much my worst case scenario.
Which isn't the end of the world, but it's still really shitty.
It still sucks.
Yeah.
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 Well,
But it's not going to come to that. You got some showings. I'm sure some hapless person who wants to live in Texas will buy your house, and you'll be well on your way. And you'll be like, "See you later."
if you
that's pretty much the idea. Yeah.
do you think that a book bonfire would help the value of your property in Texas, or because everyone wants a fire pit in their home? Just depends on what you're burning in there, right? Texans have a particular fuel that they're quite keen on. We're going to pivot away from that. Well, the collective community have all of their appendages crossed for you, my friend. So hopefully this showing and whatnot will go a little better. But yeah, yeah, actually, I'm not going to make that joke either.
Yeah, probably best you don't. There are so many reasons I want to get the fuck out of the state.
Yeah.
We'll find some other ways to offend people. Don't worry about it. We'll come back to that later.
We've got another couple hours, so there's going to be plenty of time. Dickie, what have you been up to, man? Aside from booking a trip?
Yeah, booking a trip. Just trying to shift my mindset over to that. I went ahead and canceled my gym membership that I so rarely use ever since I got COVID, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm hitting my bike. I have some workout stuff at home. I don't need to be spending $50 a month to go to this filthy gym that only gets 6 channels, and as like meatheads who are going to yell at me for trying to use the pull-up bar in between their sets. So I'm like,
Did that legitimately happen? People like giving you the...
It did happen to me once.
Really? Fuck those guys, man.
Yeah. So he got real mad that I was like even anywhere close to his workout space. I was like, really, bro?
All you need to do, right? You don't want to fight him because clearly he'll probably win that one. But if you go up to him and just take shit on his foot, like he will back the fuck off. He don't want to mess with Crazy. Crazy beats strong every time.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, just drop a deuce. You drop a deuce in the gym, people will leave you the fuck alone. Except maybe management, they might have something to say.
Yeah, maybe.
But I'm hitting the bike trail. That's fun. Obviously, it's still super hot here, but if I go early in the morning, it's not so bad. So that's on track. I'm looking forward to the trip. I'm not necessarily looking forward to the semester starting in a couple of weeks, but I get to work from home. It's not the end of the world. I still get to do what I like, so I'm not going to complain too much about it.
This portion of Life Tips with BC is fantastic. Burn books and take a shit in the gym. This has been...
Move over, Joe Rogan. There's another shitty advice podcast that's coming your way.
Wait for my TED Talk. It's going to be enlightening.
Oh, I'm sure.
So
I'm sure.
We did a stream last weekend.
We did?
Well, we did, yes. But then the next day, we did the Resupply Coffee Club, which was the first
Pretty
of its...
fantastic.
Yeah, it was the first of its kind, and I gotta say, I really, really enjoyed it. We're all about shilling on this channel, so if you want to pick yourself up a bag of this delicious era beans, coffee beans, exclamation era in chat, and they've still got some of the discounts left. But it turns out I got bag number 1, which the collector in me was just absolutely stoked with. So that's probably gonna stay unopened on my shelf somewhere. Exclamation EOs in chat, let them fly.
So actually, I do actually have a relatively serious-ish question, Steve-O.
Yeah.
So, even Gray has something for my fuck up on his channel.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck don't we have anything for my fuck up in the originating channel?
Well, there is something in the works. I'm just waiting on something from someone. And if that someone isn't up to anything except for watching us right now, Feel free to.
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
You might get it.
Okay.
That's all right. That's all right. You merely piggybacking on that joke. It's really funny because I did ask. Actually, I'm not going to bring that up either. But yeah, so we did the coffee club and it was really enjoyable. We got to sit around. We talked with our friends Blueson, Captain's Creations, and then obviously Call Me Too and Ninja Jack, who are mainstays of the Australasian resupply community. Long time Laser Force players / affiliates. And yeah, we talked about coffee. We talked about their coffee. We tried their coffee. I'm actually drinking their coffee as we speak, and it is delightful. But I loved it. It was so much fun. We will do one of those again, I think, because we got to listen to jazzy coffee music and drink coffee and talk with friends. So it's really nice, really really nice. The VOD's still up if anyone wants to go and watch that. I recommend you do, because not for me, for everyone else that was on that show. Everyone else is pretty interesting. So,
I think you just used
Evo,
the word coffee about 20 times in the last 2 minutes. So if you were betting the over under, guys, we hit the over.
Well, the coffee's just kicking in, so.
Well, so I mean, Steve-O, watching the VOD for you, I mean, you did have a very jaunty scarf on. So
I did have a jaunty.
You know, you were very what's the best way to put this? Hipster.
Yeah.
On that stream.
Yeah.
Jaunty scarf, just drinking coffee constantly. You sure you're not the one moving to Portland?
I had a beret on as well. Yeah. Well, it wasn't a beret. It was I don't know the term for this particular hat. It's kind of a cheese cutter, but I actually bought it from a thrift store in New York, and I loved it and wore it all through New York. And it's amazing when you go back through your holiday photos and you're like, why did I make that choice? Yeah, it's kind of a Kangol, kind of a Kangol, but it's not a Kangol. Did I have a man bun? No, but the hair is growing in pretty quickly, so that's making a comeback at some point. Someone asked G&D how much a hipster weighs. How much does a hipster weigh? Is that the lead up for a joke?
Is that the setup for a joke,
yeah.
Or is that just a legitimate curiosity?
I mean, if it's me, about $1.20. That's outstanding. And Instagram.
Right. Congratulations, you're now banned. Still,
all right, let's talk about some Laser Force related stuff. If anyone hasn't already heard, but you probably would have if you listen to us on the regular, there's a couple of competitions coming up. October the 24th, Auckland are hosting a triple threat tournament. That'll run for 4 days and it's going to be awesome. I think November the 6th. November the 6th, right? For how many days? 5 days? 3 days? 4 days?
3 days.
3 days.
I guess it's 4 days. We don't fully know if the 6th, which is a Sunday, is going to be a practice day. We're actually going to start tournament games then. I imagine it probably depends on how many teams we have and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But at least a practice day. So 4 days of laser tag related shenanigans and nonsense.
Well, good for you. Isn't it so fucking great that both of you guys are going to be able to play fucking Laser Force here within the next couple of months? Good for you.
Secretly,
again, you're moving to a city that at least has Laser Force facilities that are available to you. So
yeah, get off your high horse and go start a members night in Portland.
Not the point at all.
If you live somewhere close to either one of those locations, you should go out and play. Both tournaments sound like they're going to be really cool. You say that we actually play laser tag here in Auckland. Orange, I'm waiting for it. I really want to. This week we'll make it happen. Yeah, go out and play some tag because it's fun and it's good for you. But yeah, I'm excited that you're now booked to go to St. George DK. That's really friggin' sweet. Would have been better if you came down here, but it's a no for you. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, Lawrence, what the fuck?
Sorry,
you get all.
Oh, COVID. Okay, fair enough. Be cool if you did it in Brisbane. We always go to Brisbane. Stupid Brisbane.
Be cooler if you did it in Brisbane. What a dick.
What a dick.
What a fucking hipster. Fucking Gray's a fucking hipster now. What the fuck, man?
He had a little bit of coffee. He doesn't drink coffee. Era Beans Coffee and Pancakes get wrecked Saturday. What? Today?
Nice.
Yeah, sounds pretty good to me.
Outstanding.
Yeah, doesn't suck.
But yeah, you're going to play. We're gonna talk. We're gonna hopefully in the next week have a guest on to talk about. Do we want to talk about that before he's confirmed? Probably not.
I mean, sometime soon we're gonna have somebody on to talk about the St. George tournament.
Yeah.
Somebody will be on before the St. George tournament to talk about that St. George tournament. We'll figure it out. It's gonna happen.
After Kai directly to go hazelnut hot chocolate, amazing.
Hot. That is. Yep. That's fine, Gray. You can go cry into your hazelnut hot chocolate.
I made a coconut milk hot chocolate the other week. It was delightful.
Okay, you're fucking hipster too.
We don't keep like milk in the house, so whatever.
That just makes me like think back to when we were in Colorado and that day that I ordered that Rocky Mountain mocha, not realizing it had coconut in it, and I was so disappointed. I was like, God damn it, I fucking hate coconut.
It's one thing we didn't talk about last week, and we probably should have, was disappointing coffee experiences, but maybe we'll save that for the next coffee club. Sure you want to move out of Texas with that attitude? Amazing.
Jeez, really awful. It's just slanging it at us today.
Oh, he's on.
We don't need this kind of abuse.
Yeah, he's got
Doesn't
no.
I mean, he always does. So this is nothing new.
He's not streaming at the moment, so he's got no outlet. So he's just pouring it into chat here, which I'm all about. I love it.
I'm here for it.
keep it going. Caramel oat milk
That's
hot
what she
chocolate's
said.
where it's at. Ooh. But yeah, we'll have a guest on to talk about the St. George tournament in a couple of weeks. In a couple of weeks, actually, not next week, but the week after, I'll be taking a week off because my mother is coming home. She's actually flies in tonight. We're gonna go pick her up from the airport, but my mom's coming home for the first time in like 3 years, and we're gonna go down to Palmerston North, and so she can finally visit my dad's headstone, and we can kind of tidy up some stuff there for her. So it's gonna be a really nice trip. Really, there's gonna be a bunch of sadness, bunch of happiness, but all around pretty awesome to have her home. So we're gonna do that. But so yeah, a couple of weeks time, we won't have a show. I'll try and update the Discord with a more regular schedule than I have been. I've been a little bit useless the last month or so. So.
It hasn't just been the last month.
Yeah, actually, but in all seriousness, you're right. It hasn't.
Wow, what an easy setup that was.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
Really
Thank you.
that alley.
Okay.
Thank you for that low-hanging fruit that I could just pluck.
You're
welcome. Since I'm just jealous and FOMO'd of you guys playing tournaments. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Let's delve into some. Do we want to talk any more about Oh, okay. Or let's quickly touch on that. Jen brings up an excellent point. Hey Than, cool beanie. The hats that people have ordered are in production as we speak. So I'm hoping to have those out the door this coming week. And yeah, people will have their various hats, beanies, and in some cases bucket hats, ready to go for winter. Well, the back end of winter / summer. So yeah, they'll be out next week. I'll message people who have ordered, and we'll get those sorted.
Nice.
Yeah, do you guys want to touch on anything more to do with these tournaments coming up before we get on today's?
Nah,
dedicated episodes for that.
Yeah. We've got the dedicated episodes coming up. I think we just delve right into this fucking amazing topic that you came up with while you were in the shower, bro.
Yes,
I think we just go to that.
So, like, sometimes slow news weeks. You have to really scrape the outsides of the bottom of the barrel for content, but every now and again you find a wee little nugget of gold in amongst. I've got mixed metaphors, but that's okay. Well, this is a genuine shower thought. It is. So I was taking a shower. You think about the resupply in the bathroom as well?
Constantly.
Constantly.
I mean, yeah, because we're shit.
So I was having a shower. I was listening to the Pat McAfee show. Pat McAfee is an ex-NFL punter. He has a sports talk show that they do 5 days a week, and they're predominantly NFL-based content, and they talk for 3 hours a day. And how they manage to actually talk about anything during the off season is a miracle to me. There's been points where there's no sports on, and yet they still run 3 hours a day. It's crazy, and it's actually kind of like really entertaining. But when it splashes twice in the toilet, is that also a double tap? Oh my god! Ew. But I was having a shower, and a thought popped into my head, and that was, maybe I should get the back. No. The thought popped into my head was, what if Space Marines 5 was a major league sport? And when I say major league sport, I'm kind of thinking like North American based major league sport, kind of like the big three. It's big three, right? Football, basketball, baseball is kind of the major league big three in the States.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And hockey
yeah.
sometimes pretends it's in that group, but it's definitely not.
and Major League Soccer likes to really pretend it's in that group, but it's also not.
I mean, hockey
I can right now.
Hockey I can understand, but soccer, if hockey is the first cousin of the big three, then Major League Soccer is the garbage man who picks their rubbish up on a weekly basis. That's how far removed Major League Soccer is. Yuck. I shouldn't say that. I heard that, didn't they sign Messi? Didn't they get him this year?
Gareth Bale went to LAFC.
I thought they got it was Ronaldo. No.
It was Gareth
How the
Bale.
fuck are we talking about this? Get to the fucking point. Oh my god.
See, that's how much people hate Major League Soccer. But yeah, I thought, what if Space Marines 5 was a major league sport? What would that look like? And so I put it to the boys, and it got some creative juices flowing. Where should we start with this? Should we start with the teams, or should we start with the player, or how do you guys want to tackle this?
So we're imagining somehow that like Bezos gets it in his head tomorrow that he's gonna stop being a shit heel supervillain and do something useful, like invest his money in starting a professional SM5 league, and so we just have, you know, many discretionary billions of dollars at our disposal to get this thing off the ground.
That's right.
If I'm understanding correctly.
That's correct. That's correct. So I put it to you guys to come up with like a city and a team who would represent that city in the Space Marines 5 Major League.
Well, I think like one of the kind of things like right off the jump with that is like how you're planning to initially structure the league. Like, is it are you breaking it up into regions? Is it just going to be one league? How many teams are we wanting to have off the jump? Do you have feeder teams? Do you structure it like Major League Baseball, where obviously you've got your the majors, and you've got your AAA, AA, single A rookie ball teams. That's probably the place that we need to start is what sort of league structure just right off the bat.
Got it,
I think we had minor pretensions to that at one point when we first started doing like the West Coast tournament, East Coast tournament structure, when we were thinking that like, well, nationals is getting bigger. We don't know if we're going to accommodate all these teams, so maybe we start treating these regional tournaments as like a qualifying or feeder regional tournament, and like saying that, okay, well, if each side is only going to get one team, like maybe whichever team does the best at one of these regional tournaments, they should be the one to go to nationals or something like that. So we kind of had,
Got
frankly,
regionals.
delusions about how that might work out. But it was at least a thought that you'd probably have maybe like Eastern and Western conferences in the US. I'm imagining, like, when it first gets off the ground, that maybe there would be like, I don't know, 8 to 12 teams, because I'm thinking about the kind of origin point of like the NBA, which is probably, the sports league I'm most familiar with. I think they had 11 teams when I started around like 1950-ish.
Um, should there be a club based with grade hierarchy? I think so. I think you'd have a club and then have grades. Home field advantage is definitely a factor. Yeah, it definitely is, Kodama. Definitely.
We'll get there. We'll get there, Kodama.
The way I kind of looked at it is you'd have a 16 team league. And then from those 16 teams, each team would have like a squad, and the squad would be made up of like maybe, let's say, 12 players on the roster, enough to have essentially two teams, but you'd have 12 players that could fill that roster, maybe 8. You have your core 6 with a couple of reserves, and then you have your feeder teams that help promote not only the local scene, but also like, so the NFL has practice squads, right? Teams that play against the main team during the week for practice, because you need quality people to practice against on a weekly basis, I think, in order for a team to be successful. So yeah, I think that would kind of that kind of structure would be quite good.
Yeah, so the idea of like a 16 team league that maybe it's split, 8 and 8, East Coast, West Coast, into the middle of the country, with with grades and feeder teams like that does make a certain amount of sense. I mean, that's kind of, that's kind of the model that most sports leagues have, bar the NFL, which is like, yes, we're going to draft people out of college, but most other sports, like, they have some type of feeder system
minor
for,
grades.
yeah, for the professional team, as it were. So so I think that's a fair enough place to start. Yeah, so 16 team league, 8 and 8, Western Conference, and then within the club, you know, you've got your. I do like your idea of you've got 12 senior players, as it were, but you can only put like 8 or 9 onto the game day roster, as far as like who you're gonna have play, and as far as how many matches that there are and stuff like that, because that's a whole thing
I've
at
got
that
that
point.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then yeah, you've got your subtending teams that are, constantly, or your subtending players that, like, they're getting the opportunity to, practice against the professionals, as it were, as well, against each other. And you could probably even, run, you run like a second tier where yeah, where your practice squad players are playing against each other also.
What's a
It's an interesting feed.
What is a really interesting thought is, with Space Marines, you practice Space Marines by playing games of Space Marines, which kind of sets it apart from, like, the other, like, major league games where you don't, except maybe basketball, but you don't really play full games of the sport as your practice. Like, they will, like, they will do run throughs and drills and stuff of these for these other sports, but they don't really They do. They do play games. Who does?
I mean, lots of sports do that. Like, it will be one aspect of a practice. You'll probably have some skill building stuff. You'll have some drills that you run,
Mhm.
but I mean, that's common in most sports. Like, there will oftentimes be a specific practice squad where their entire role is to play simulated games or parts of games
Yeah.
against the main team, whether it's college or professional sports.
Football has a lot of training games. Like, I assume you're talking about soccer. Let's make the distinction.
He is. Yeah.
You've had a number of EPL. Okay, so I'm thinking again the big four or the big three American league sports.
Space Marines is the fourth.
Yeah. but I could be like I think they do it in basketball. But I don't think they do it in American football, and I don't think they do. Yeah, summer league's different though.
They well they do, but it's not necessarily like at like the same intensity because
Yeah.
I mean, from watching the NFL, like you can't have the guys going full speed
No.
in practice. They'll fucking kill each other.
Yeah. That's what training
That'd
camps
be-
for.
Be a problem.
Yeah,
They'll do some stuff.
but I'm talking like on a week to week basis. Like, they they don't play multiple games a week of their game as their training schedule. They'll do you get summer league, which is a different reserve grade again, I guess. And you get training camps, but yeah, it's not often that you get a game like with Space Marines. When you play a game of Space Marines, that's how you train to play Space Marines, unless you do what we did, in like 2008, where we, did extracurricular stuff as well. But yeah,
And yeah.
Probably is important.
yeah.
And for a couple of leagues that we had in Sacramento, it didn't always work, but for some of my teams, I tried to get them out on a different day
Mhm.
for us to run some specialized drills rather than just playing Space Marines, to do things like, okay, look, we're going to do an offense versus defense drill. We're going to play maybe a different game where we look at things from a different angle. So I would imagine that would be something that training staffs would look at, is to say, okay, well, look, what particular weaknesses do we have right now in in our squad, in our game planning and things like that, and let's try to design drills that are around that to shore up what those weaknesses are.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the game or the weekly game format. So have you guys got an idea of how you would how the competition would kind of run? Because if you look at like say baseball or basketball, the NBA or the other one, which I can't remember off the top of my head what the baseball league is called. What's baseball?
Major League Baseball.
Yeah, MLB. There we go.
Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah, so they play. Their season is made up of what
162 games.
162 games. Yeah.
Yeah, they might as well be.
This goes
It's
and
what
goes
like
and goes.
3 or 4 games a week or something for
I mean, depending upon the schedule. I mean, you can have like 7, 8, 9 games in a row. Like
That's crazy.
It can be.
If you mix in double headers and you're in a city that's not that far, they can be a lot pretty quickly.
So versus like the NFL that has game day, they have one game a week. So
because there's nothing but a pile of bodies left over afterward that are just like, fuck, I need like 2 weeks to recover from this.
It's so great. One thing I kind of thought, for me anyway, is the structure could be teams would travel or would play at home. They either travel or they'd host a different team. You'd have a game day once per week over the weekend for all teams involved. And you play. Game day consists of 2 matches. It's either 2 or 3 matches. And obviously it's 2 games per match. And there's no timeouts, obviously, because timeouts are dumb. But you if it's 4 games or 2 matches, you treat it like quarters. So each game is 1 quarter or whatever, and so you'd play the first game, have your first quarter break, play your second game of the match, you have your halftime, and so on and so forth. And so you could kind of stretch that out over the space of, like, I don't know, hopefully an hour at least. Taking into consideration things like eliminations and whatnot. But that's kind of how I would envision game day being, and you would have multiple games over the weekend for all the teams involved. Have you guys got any? Oh, hang on. Would you consider those 4 games 2 matches, or make it one giant match with a combined 4 scores? I think maybe one giant match. The winner of the collective 4 games is the winner of the match. Maybe. Have you guys got any thoughts on that?
Done that. It's not like we haven't done that before. I mean, that's very much how we used to do the grand final when we would usually play these tournaments. Is it would usually be a 4-game series instead of a 2-game series. It'd be a double match. So we're at a professional grade league. Maybe that would just be more the standard arrangement, is tallying those things up, but probably also keeping a running tabulation of total score and total wins against different teams to break down, what the seedings would be at the end of the season, so on and so forth.
You have to think about, like he says, what kind of ladder/point structure you're putting in place.
Well, I mean, the structure that we have is very much based on stuff like soccer tournaments. I think that was just kind of our initial frame of reference when we started doing stuff like, you get 2 points for a win, and then you get 2 points for winning your match. That's kind of what we were drawing on. So, and just in our brief foray into this subject, I don't really see any need to reinvent the wheel there. So I'm thinking it is very much like that same kind of almost like World Cup structure, I guess.
And then what Morins makes the comment in chat as well, that imagining point differentials would be a thing for sure. I mean, that would definitely be one of the tiebreakers, as it were, because you're gonna have your for and against. You're gonna have total points based on game wins and then match win, and then that the point differential you could either do as a you can do it as a global value, or if you're tied with somebody, you could have it as your point differential against the team that you're tied with. I mean, there's a couple of different ways to do that.
In rugby tournaments, they have the bonus point structure. So if a team wins by more than X amount, they get a bonus competition point. So you could look at maybe doing something like you get a bonus point for eliminating the other team, maybe.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, because that would hopefully take away,
incentivize eliminations.
Well, that first and foremost, yeah, because I think there needs to be more emphasis put on eliminating the other team rather than farming. Yeah, I don't know if you'd have MVP points or whatever, because
you would.
An interesting thing.
Oh, we would find all kinds of statistical variations and dig into. We'd have all kinds of new things. There'd be a whole generation of laser tag sabermetrics.
Yeah.
I need to figure out my VORP and my raw and all kinds of other shit.
But yeah, doing a bonus point structure would be kind of cool. To incentivize and reward for elims. Yeah. All right.
And also brings up, I think, kind of the elephant or one of the elephants in the room with this as well, is like you need professional dedicated refs,
of course,
as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Now I mean, I could see a situation where, like, the clubs are responsible for helping to train kind of with and like the league oversight across everything has, like, has the ultimate oversight over the refs, but the clubs themselves, could train the refs with that league oversight. But refs trained at a specific club don't ref that club.
Mm.
So let's say you've got let's say you have a Sacramento professional Space 5 team because um refs trained in Sacramento would, at least for regular league game purposes, would never ref a Sacramento team.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you get into playoffs and you've had ref assessments, this, that, the other, then you may run into a situation where, well, here are the most highly rated refs. Oh, it's Sacramento versus St. George in a playoff game. Okay, of the 12 refs that we need for that, there's a oh, fuck up hoodie. There's two ranked from Sacramento and one ranked from St. George. They're allowed to ref that because there's been additional vetting at that point. But you try not to have refs that have been trained at a specific site ref that site within the context of league to try to eliminate bias and shit like that.
Yeah. I can only imagine the fans of various clubs being like, oh, great, we got fucking Scott Foster reffing. He's always calling chases against Scythe when it's like right on the line. Never get a favorable whistle from that guy. I can't believe this shit.
So one thing really quick. Mum, can't wait to see you. Travel safe. Have a good flight. We'll see you in a few hours' time. Can't wait. It's gonna be awesome. I would go one step further and say that with technology the way that it is now, and with the Bezos money that we have, surely we could have some sort of proximity sensors or something to where things like backtracks could be measured. Like a chase, you could measure a chase via computers.
We had perfect location data.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're kitting out purpose-built stadiums or arenas or whatever, yeah, then you have the ability to implement the chasing sensors. Let's say, maybe things like like tilt monitors to make sure people are getting clean shots, or there's a way to measure whether or not the sensor is blocking a shoulder or whatever it is. Like surely technology is at a point where we could
Technology could certainly assist.
Yeah, because we definitely have nothing but favorable examples in North American professional sports leagues of technology aiding referee review and them still deciding not to factor any of that in at all.
It's so dumb. It's just a real unwillingness to rely on technology to be more accurate. Don't forget body cams for the bunker and hot mics for key players. Capture all that rage. Hot mics is definitely that's something I want to implement in our regular tournaments. Same thing with like body cams for broadcasting purposes. Yeah, they've got the modern soccer jerseys have the trackers. They've, I believe, the grounding is inconclusive. You may want to try. I think the NFL have, well, not the NFL, one of the feeder league, maybe the XFL, have sensors in the balls now that can determine whether or not the ball, or it determines where the spot of the ball is. To see whether or not they've got first down. So surely we could supersede a lot of the... We'd have referees in the arena still, doing things like game misconducts and all that kind of crap. But for the stuff that's really hard for people to actually get right 100% of the time, surely technology can fill that shortfall.
I mean, it's one of those things. Like I think one of the things that you kind of you kind of have to accept in any sport is that even with technology, nothing's going to be right 100% of the time. There's
Nah.
always going to be something
Yeah.
that is not not right, as it were. But going back to a comment that Orange made in chat just a little bit before, with if there is a universal refing course that should help lower discrepancies between refs. Yeah, I'm not discounting that. It's just in a in a perfect world,
In a world.
I'm always in favor of anything you can do to help reduce the appearance of bias. And if that means not having refs that trained in specific arenas you know ref their home team as often, then so be it. Although there is also the thing of um, pretty much almost every ref that I've met in every sport um, is there to do the best job they can and not be a and not show favoritism to people. Like, they actually want to do the job right. So that may be kind of less of an issue than I'm making it out to be.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so this is probably a good time to bring this up because I wrote some notes about how the arenas look in the Major League Space Marines 5 League. And it's interesting to get like Ducky and Stallion. Ducky says have a standardized arena, and Stallion says I disagree.
I'm on Team Stallion with this one.
Are
I am
you
1000% in favor of unique arenas.
right?
Yeah. Well, I think you can have unique arenas with a level of standardization. Like it is just like a a soccer pitch. Like, there's actually there's variances in size allowed for a soccer pitch within the FIFA rules. It can
That's
be
fucking
between
stupid.
it, it can be
Can't wait
between
till we get to baseball.
yeah, it can be between X, at X and Y wide. It can be between A and B long. So you have some, some scope there to be, you know, to not be the same size field, but still have the same general idea. I feel like, um, you standardize a certain amount of things, like number
Number of
of
infield
bases.
targets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
number of infield targets. You standardize it out that there will always be one team base and either one or two neutrals. Like,
Yeah. And
you make
and
that decision.
it's kind of converged that way just in our own playing that we've had in tournaments between different sites now. Pretty much, with maybe one or two exceptions, basically every site has converged down to a team base and a neutral target. So
Yeah.
a total of
During
3
tournaments,
infield
yeah.
targets that are on during Space Marines.
What
Yeah.
about
So
like symmetry being one of those factors?
I'm I'm less I don't necessarily need a maze to be symmetrical. I do need it to be balanced.
Ring.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
those
Right.
and I mean those are obviously two very different things. Um but you know like who just made so Gray just made the comment. Unique arenas is a great way to make players good at the sport rather than just learning the arena. Yes. um so and that's always part of, like, that's part of the joy of going, like, to different places to play. Like,
One of my favorite
you're
things about our game,
Me too.
honestly.
um great teams must change their arenas every season. Um, eh,
I kind of, it's at least worth a thought. I mean, I don't mean to leap ahead, but for
maybe
like
not wholesale, but
playoffs and things like that, I had kind of a thought
Playoffs.
on that sort of idea.
Sorry. Yeah.
but
But I would imagine that once you have your standardized arena, that's your arena for the season. You're not allowed to change your arena.
At least the season. Yeah.
Yeah, that I'm definitely okay with. But yeah, definitely like you want to have you don't want it to be a case of, oh yeah, I went from Sacramento to Portland to play in the exact same arena. The only thing that changed is we hopped a 90-minute flight north.
Slightly more hipsters.
Yeah, slightly more hipsters, better coffee, but the exact same arena. Why that wouldn't have that much appeal, at least to me as a player. Like, oh, I'm just changing the cities and I'm playing the exact same fucking maze.
I think it'd be different if you're playing it as a professional sportsman, though, right? Because we play at the moment for the love of the game for the most part. But when you add a professionalism to a sport, it becomes that's not the driving factor, I don't think, for a lot of players, because then it becomes your livelihood, and you don't really give a fuck. Like, it helps if you still enjoy playing the sport that you play on a regular basis, but I can't imagine like a lot of these guys have the same love of the game, that they did as a kid. Maybe.
Ooh, they get paid millions of dollars to do it.
Fuck, that'd be awesome. For playoffs, neutral arena that's customizable and unseen by teams prior to the playoffs. So I think if you make playoffs, and you go on a seed, a playoff seed bracket or whatever, maybe top 8. Your top 8 makes playoffs. Then the team that home field advantage really becomes a thing, and it is a thing. Rusty.
Yeah.
I think maybe to a certain point, but I would tend to agree with Al that at least for maybe you would only make this for like the final championship, like essentially the Super Bowl version of that you do it like you do in the NFL, where you have a neutral site where you go and play. But I like that idea that it is a new custom designed arena for every single season, so it is brand new. No one's ever seen it. You don't show in either of the teams until, let's say, 24 hours before game time. So you guys have a day to look at the arena, check it out, scope out what you want to do, develop your plans, and then you got to go play.
Like an actual walkthrough rather than like, here's the schematics, right? You give them a walkthrough of the arena.
Yeah, like an actual walkthrough.
Yeah.
You can go through as much as you want. You can walk around, and maybe you provide people with a schematic and a map and stuff like that, because presumably that would be something that would be a lot more common, that people would be diagramming all that shit out.
Like you said before, you make every arena the same size with the same number of bases with movable walls set up at the home team's discretion. That's kind of cool. But
I think it should at least be a range of sizes. Like an arena should be between X and Y number of square meters.
Yeah, and that literally is the soccer thing with the size of the pitch.
Yeah.
Like you must be at least this big to play.
Because there's also things
no bigger than
like towers and shit as well that extend the playing field, and that completely change.
But those kinds of variants, I think, are pretty acceptable. Or if you had some arenas where just it was maybe a little bit more grinding, like something that I noticed in like the Nats that we played in Detroit is that on average the scores were a little bit lower because it was a little bit more of like a back and forth game about capturing space and stuff. But that's also true for like MLB, right? Everybody knows that, well, it's harder to hit home runs in Boston because the wall is just so much higher.
Right.
So stuff that would be a home run in other arenas, like it will hit the wall instead. So yeah, players will probably hit fewer home runs in Boston. Players may score fewer points in certain kinds of arenas. I think that's okay. It doesn't completely derail sport, because if you're traveling around, then everybody's gonna have that kind of exposure.
Yeah, everyone's playing the same arena the same amount of times. So I think also, as any sport that is a major league sport, money's the name of the game. So in order to crank those revenues, you need a it needs to be spectator friendly. So how do we tackle MLSM5? uh, how do we tackle the challenges that come with it being a spectator sport?
Like that is kind of the $1 million question that has kind of plagued laser tag just in general. You know, there are certain things within the tag community that are, you know, more visually, they're easier to understand at a quick glance.
Yeah.
Like for as much shit as we give Qzar, a Qzar one-on-one duel is like you can watch that and you can understand it pretty instantly. Like there's kind of just an innate understanding of what's happening. Same thing with the with Zone's Lord of the Rings format, which is basically one-on-one in a, it's like a 10 or 15-foot circle, and yeah, same basic idea. Like there's this instant recognition of, oh, that's what's happening. Um, the biggest challenge with Space 5, as we all know from like trying to put cameras into arenas, is getting enough camera coverage to, you know, show all the hot spots, and then having people being able to commentate what's happening in those hot spots to an audience watching. It's not really a sport that you can put into an arena situation where, like, you know, the tag arena is in the middle of, you know, a 5,000 surround seat stadium or whatever.
Coliseum thing.
Like, yeah, like that just doesn't.
The
I don't think
soundproof
that
cube
plays.
that everybody in the arena, they can see into, but we can't see out. So it's like tinted, and they can't hear, and we can't hear anything that's going on. We can't hear the shouts.
But you have to penalize players for getting reflection shots off of the one-way mirror glass. Because if you have like a...
Oh, it's somehow magically not reflective. We got that Bezos money. We got it all figured out. It's some kind of perfect like black body problem. Like they've solved all the radiation issues.
Single level arena total camera coverage.
So I don't know that it necessarily needs to be single level. That would obviously be preferable. But I had the same kind of thought of Ducky as like you would want to do a lot of more camera above shots, and maybe you have stuff that's on a line or even like a drone or something like that that can move back and forth, going in multiple directions, so you get kind of that top-down view. I think really maybe more the model to look at rather than something that happens in a major stadium is more taking a page out of like esports, where it really is much more driven by what's the action on the ground. Or like, I don't know how popular it still is, but for a hot minute, right, everybody was watching poker on TV. Watching people sit around and play cards, something of the most boring shit in the world. But they found ways to make it interesting by showing you the cards, by showing you the odds, by having the commentators, and all that kind of stuff. So sure, you had people who would go to the live events, you would have people who were at the rail trying to watch what was going on, but there wasn't nearly as much information. So maybe like Space Marines would be more like that, where you have kind of a hardcore set of devotees who maybe show up in person who are watching the score screen. But other than that, for stuff that's being televised or broadcast on the internet, since obviously this is the sport of the future, so we're having an internet presence rather than network TV, where that's kind of the model where you're streaming this out to a lot of people, and that's the interaction people have with it.
Yeah. And even from you know, a stadium point of view, the people who are watching live, you would hopefully have like screens available. You could do one or two things. Either you have a Titantron that has massive screens that get the feed, the same feed as like as the online stream would be, or because this is Bezos money, every seat is equipped with a tablet, and the tablet is hooked up to the multiple camera feeds that are in the arena, and people are able to choose which camera feeds they run, and they can watch they can choose which feed they actually choose your own feed. That's what I'm going for, which would be kind of cool. Because like Space Marines is one of those games that in some cases 2 games are happening at once, right? Where like because you've got 2 resupplies in different parts
At least
of the
2
arena.
games.
Yeah. So it's really hard to kind of capture everything that's happening from spectator view. But if you give spectators the ability to choose which feeds they're watching, then that's pretty sweet. Maybe you could go as far as having body cams on either everyone or just like you have a body cam on the commanders or body cam on the resupply or something.
I think it should be everybody. I think it should be everybody.
Probably. If Bezos.
Well, and I also just had kind of a flash of inspiration thinking about this. Like, I feel like for broadcasting purposes, making the difference between different arenas like a key point of the stream of the presentation is like in between quarters and stuff like that, you're having this whole kind of in-depth look about, well, here's what makes this arena unique, and this is why it's interesting relative to these other fields, is that this is kind of the strategy that teams have to plan around, like, oh, in this arena, everything is going to revolve around this central platform, and if you don't control this, then teams aren't going to be able to operate as effectively. So that, I think, is maybe kind of the window through which the audience then kind of understands, like, oh, okay, I understand like a little bit about how these teams are planning tactics differently based on the field, based on the needs that they have, because that's what I feel like people would be more interested in, since this is at base kind of a simulated combat game. Is okay, how are you planning for warfare, for lack of a better term, against other teams?
Action replays of key plays and moves. So that's why if you run it so that there's 4 quarters, you can use those quarter time breaks to run back those highlights.
Ooh, let's see that double missile again.
So you could do, obviously, if you want to do like live replays and it goes picture in picture, that stuff's really cool. But yeah, doing a quarter time, half time, 3/4 time, full time highlight show, obviously, I think that stuff's really good for viewer engagement as well. Because you can kind of condense, a lot of shit down into key moments for a lot of games. So, missing double taps.
Oh, that's a bad miss.
Commentary team will need to do a lot of lifting to make things understandable. And so Stallion, I think that's like comes back to what you were saying, DK, with like a lot of the times the commentators are what made watching poker so good. Firstly, for me anyway, seeing the cards, but also like the commentators explaining to the layman what's actually happening, and I think that's shown in the last couple of tournaments that we've played that has had commentary. It's seen a spike in the viewership, because when you have commentators kind of explaining what's happening in a game, it helps people who don't know what the scoreboard is understand the scoreboard. But yeah, I think it's very important. I'm really keen to hear your teams, but maybe we'll talk about that in a minute. What was the other thing I had? What does a week, a standard week for a major leaguer look like to you guys? How does that week kind of look at? What are some of the important things that need to happen in that player's week to prepare for Sunday, or prepare for their match on the weekend?
Well,
Cooking hash and crushing gash.
First off, it's like first thing is when are the actual games? Are we assuming that like everything is gonna play on a Friday night or on a Saturday or on a Sunday, or are things gonna be spread out between those 3 days?
I reckon you'd have like 4 games Saturday, 4 games Sunday. If it's does that work out? If that's a 16 team league, 4 and 4, 8 matches.
We don't need to get into math here. That's
8 and 8,
fine.
yeah, it's fine. So assuming that you know that you're going to be playing, one day of either Saturday or Sunday, and I mean, and that would actually like work if you had like an East-West division thing. Like you could have all of the West Division play on Saturday, all the East Division play on Sunday, so that your timings are
Well, so yeah,
consistent.
that kind of I suppose answers Moranger's question. Would you not want to stagger the games so you don't have crossover? Yeah, you wouldn't want crossover. Yeah. So you'd
Yeah, you
stagger.
Play at slightly different times during the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have, a slate of
10
morning games.
So yeah, it's like noon, 2, 4, 6, or later. Start the first game at 6, 8, 10, midnight, whatever.
Probably the broadcast would break out into like 2 hour blocks. 2 hour blocks. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I just set it in 2 hour increments. Yeah, there was
I got you.
There was an entire
that's
reason.
My bad. That's my bad.
That.
Yeah.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
So I think thinking that in that case, I mean, okay, so your game day is either Saturday or Sunday, which makes whatever day immediately before and immediately after essentially travel days if you're heading to an away game.
Mm-hmm.
So if you assume so that makes like your day one a day one of week, which is whatever day is after your game day, is essentially travel / recovery, because we know how hard you can go during those games. A day of recovery with some light exercise is probably what's gonna happen there.
Leg in the ice bath, etc.
Yeah, all that good stuff. For us old people, as far as that goes. And then in the lead up days, and it would literally be a combination of conditioning and arena work. And that just literally would boil down to like what are the things that your team needs to be working on, what are the things that you as an individual need to be working on, what is your fitness level at, and all that type of fun stuff.
You got anything for this, DK? I've got a few notes.
I mean, in terms of conditioning work that you would want to do, there would certainly be a lot of lower chain body stuff that's always been helpful in it when I've been prepping for tournaments and things like that. And certainly one of my least favorite types of cardio, but damned if it doesn't work, is high intensity interval training. Yeah. Because that's really a lot more of what Space Marines is. It's not really kind of steady state running, like learning how to pace yourself for a 5K or something. It's we're going to have a couple of times where you need to go really fast and move, and then you're going to have a small break, and then you need to move quickly to another area, and then you need to move quickly to another place like that. So those would be the kind of things that it's like, yeah, you really want to be able to make sure that you can make it down this hallway, get around this corner in 4 seconds. Like, I can't tell you how many times in the run up to the last Nats that we had in SAC 2017, I actually was running a couple of like sprint drills in the arena in certain places where I'm like, look, if I'm attacking from the keep into the kind of that green resupply area and I need to turn around after getting put down, I want to make sure that I can clear that corner before my save time expires, so I'm not taking an extra reset or something like that, because that's another 8 seconds that I can't be doing something, or that's another 120 points that I give up to their team. So those are the kind of like small adjustments I could see teams making of, look, you got to shore up your conditioning in this particular area, because you need to, if you're the medic, you need to be able to escape to this area much more quickly. You need to only be losing 1 life here instead of 2, or 0 lives instead of 1.
I've got a kind of a rough, loose schedule. Hang on. In the interest of fairness, the league owns, provides, and maintains the suits to use on game days. Yeah, I think so. 100%. The equipment needs to be always working, always good. For me, a schedule.
Don't deflate the suits. No deflating.
Okay, so a weekly schedule. Okay, so consists of daily cardio to improve stamina and general fitness, with an emphasis on things like shuttle runs for backtrack training, hill sprints, jumping jacks for, shooting over walls and shit. There needs to be at least 4 days. 4 days of intense yoga, focusing on positions to improve missile dodging flexibility, and also the ability to warp your body around a wall, and of course for knee pliability. Needs to be plenty of knee pliability because apparently that's a thing in our game. At least 1 day a week of weights training because who doesn't want to look awesome in their player singlet / vest. And then you have an hour of arcade shooters a day, so House of the Dead, Time Crisis, etc., Deer Hunter, and or 1 hour of FPS video games a day like Call of Duty or Fortnite or something like that to improve your reaction times. Space Marines 5, 3 days a week for 4 hours a day. That's a must. It's baseline.
That just sounds like you
heaven.
should just be doing that anyway. Like, why are you not doing this right now? You have a laser arena. Come on, get the fuck on this.
Don't forget ankle mobility, exactly. And of course, ice baths, post training, and game day. Because again, those joints, they ain't gonna heal themselves, kids. Right. I want to hear. So I put it to the boys. Come up with the name of a team in the city that they represent. Adding joints to this training schedule. Yeah, exactly.
Only in states where it's legal.
You're advocating crystal meth? What?
No.
Oh, ice baths? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Smoke a fat bowl of meth.
Ice baths, bath salts. What's the difference?
Everything a growing. St. George Chase is shot fired, Stallion.
He wasn't even there. Jesus.
So what did you guys come up? Than, let's start with you. Who's your team for the Major League Space Marines 5 League?
Well, since I've already mentally left Texas, it would be Portland because that's where I'm going to be living.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean honestly, the stuff I came up with is like really boring. It's like the Portland Explorers, because you can't use the Trailblazers because that's basketball. And it kind of goes
the Portland Subarus.
Hey, if Subaru wanted to sponsor the Portland team, that would be fine.
Oh, Subaru would 1,000% be sponsoring the Portland team. It would be nothing but Subaru and Stumptown Roasters ads like everywhere.
I do like maybe the Portland Trail Makers. Because you always gotta set a trail. But
it's too close to that's too close to Trailblazers, which is basketball. That's just yeah.
Everyone knows the Major League Space Marine is going to be bigger. Portland Trail Mix. That's a good one. Who have you got, DK?
I of course have the Sacramento Gold Diggers.
That's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
The Melbourne Caffeinators. So I asked the boys this question, and I was only going to choose one, and then I wrote like 15 of them. So we're gonna,
because of course you did.
Of course we did. This is what I think about in the shower. We'll run through them and hopefully enjoy them. There's a few teams in here, and then I've got one that's probably a feeder team, but we'll get to that. The Brisbane Brown Snakes. That's awesome.
Ooh, I like it. So it's nice and it's alliterative. It's very threatening.
So if you like alliteration, buckle your seatbelt, my friend, because it's about to get illiterate in here.
Alliterative, not illiterate.
Okay, so we have the Arkansas Armory. We have the Dallas Diodes, because lasers. We have, I like this one, the Syracuse Accusers, the Washington Commanders, but that team will probably end up changing its name at some point. So,
Commanders was deemed to be an offensive term in 2047.
Like, fuck, not again. I really like this one, the Cedar Rapids Fire. Because rapid fire, whatever. I thought you guys might have liked that one more than you did, but
Wait, once you explained it, I'm on it now. I was just like,
everyone knows
was
that
there a
makes
fire?
a good joke is when you explain the joke.
Have to
So
explain
Cedar
it,
Rapids
yeah.
Fire, the Waco Warbots, the Bakersville Backtrackers. We have
Bakersville? Do you mean Bakersfield?
Bakersfield. Sorry, Bakersfield, not Bakersville.
I love in our fictional laser tag universe, we have teams from places like Arkansas and Bakersfield as like our home bases for these major sports franchises.
And Waco, of course, Waco Warbots.
And I mean, to be fair, that does seem about par for the course. So,
this is the expansion league. Let's see what else we got. We got the Houston Heavies, the Seattle Shoulder Showers. Of course, every good major league, North American league needs a team from Canada. So you have the Vancouver Veterans. This next team is probably the most hated team in the league, which of course is the Tallahassee Totem. Everyone hates that team. Fuck those guys.
I was like, what can we do? Something Florida based, yeah.
And then it wouldn't be a major league without two teams from LA. So you have the Detroit Pistols. That's awesome. You have the LA Missile Dodgers. And you also have the the LA Lasers is the last team on that list. The
Lasers.
The LA Lasers. Not to be confused with the Lakers. But yeah, those are the team names that I came up with. If people want to create their own ones, I'd love to hear them and at some point make some merch. For these,
make some logos,
yeah, for these hypothetical teams. One team that I did have in there that was kind of the honorable mention, if you will, were the Nashville Knee Brace. But they're a senior team, so they probably wouldn't count in this league. But yeah, if you want to come up with your own team names, please feel free to do so. Detroit Pistols is a good one. I like that one. Fort Worth 5-Chainers. I missed that. That's quite good too. I really like. Yeah. I want to see some merch for the Cedar Rapids Fire. I really like that one. I'm really disappointed that you guys didn't. I didn't get a rise out of you for that one, but that's okay.
We're a little slow on the uptake. It's okay, buddy.
Can't all be winners.
Accurate.
Right. I think that kind of covers most of the Nashville Nukes. Will there be a veterans league like the Seniors Tour and golf? Or that's where the knee braces play.
There better be, otherwise we're never going to be able to play.
Yeah.
So I think so. Ducky to that, like, I think that would go along with the idea of each club having grades within the club. You're gonna have your pro team, as it were. You're gonna have your feeder teams, and yeah, you'll have your old boys teams, old people's teams, whatever.
Yeah.
I knew what I meant. So for those players that age out of the pro team, and maybe maybe they're okay dropping down levels to help people, to help train people or whatnot, or maybe they're just like, no, I'm gonna retire and go to the senior team, and that would be a thing that you probably do. Like, if somebody wanted to continue playing against not 18-year-old kids, then you officially retire and you don't get to take it back, and then you get to play with the senior team, and and obviously there'd be
Or you
some
move on
sort.
to the coaching tree. Can I just be the mic'd up coach who's saying, "Will you guys stop playing like a bunch of assholes?"
Ooh, the Sacramento Sack Taps. That's a good one. Our friend Hoodlum is the captain of that team. The old Sack Taps.
all all arenas should have ramps, not stairs. Well, that okay. So that I feel like should go without saying.
Yeah,
but
that gets incorporated into the safety rules right there.
Yeah,
like
There'll be no stairs or submarine doors included anywhere in these standardized fields.
Trip hazards is a big no-no in a darkened arena.
Very much.
Well, was there anything else you want to touch on this topic, or should we leave it alone because it's already dead?
We still have the issue of sponsorships. What kinds of corporate sponsorships would various teams and or players? We shouldn't forget that we'll have, of course, some superstar players who might have their own corporate endorsements here.
Right. So how do you work that then? Who's the major endorsing?
I mean, I'm just saying, you have all kinds of athletes and stuff like that who have done ads for Jack Daniels, for stuff like that. Fireball does not yet have any kind of pro athletes who have been signed on to promote their product. So, I'm just saying, it seems like a natural in.
Sponsored by Deep Heat Muscle Rub.
Yeah, I love twos. I think Deep Heat Muscle Rub, or or whatever other Tiger Balm. I'm sure that there will be competing sponsors for teams for that for sure.
Shoe endorsements. Oh, that's a good.
Yeah,
one.
I mean,
player shoe and like specific player shoes.
Yes, I'm finally gonna vault New Balance into the mainstream here.
Well, you could play in your custom design New Balance Fireballs. That's I'd imagine what you'd be rocking on your feet.
So I mean, one of the other kind of ways that you could go with this is, I mean, esports is obviously a thing that has been growing the last 5, 10, 15 years, and there are a lot of there are a decent amount of cities that do have their own esports teams. Maybe this, because in our perfect world, maybe this becomes something that this becomes another part of the esports.
Scuffed my new rusty ones.
And then with that, that does then come with a wider sponsorship base potentially, because then you start getting into computer company sponsorships and all of that, various tech nerd geek stuff that all of us are into.
So obviously, like with the suit having, and the suits now with Gen 8 having LED screens on them, there's no reason why you couldn't have front to back advertising. Like a player scans in, and the either the full front and or the full back has sponsor logos on rotation. So I mean, yeah,
that's just what I need, is to see a Doritos logo run past me in the middle of a Space Marines game.
Was that avocado from Mexico? So they're bright red and curse people. Yes, the shoes. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that's and maybe even the sides of the phaser as well. So that or even on top of the gun. So when you go to shoot someone, that's all they're seeing is this deactivation was brought to you by Geico. Stupid advertising.
I'm suddenly much less enamored by this idea now.
Yeah. Hey, look, we need that corporate money coming in, to pay for all the.
You, Bezos. God damn it.
Pay for all the.
You do anything out of the
fees.
goodness of your heart.
Someone said Geico.
Yeah, hook us up, stalker. You got it.
Yeah, advertising easy. Anywhere there's a screen, you can put an ad on. Don't in college they sponsor the actual netting of the basketballs for basketball games? Like the basketball cut is brought to you by Mountain Dew or something?
Probably. I'm probably gonna have to put in a fucking preamble in my syllabus if these colleges keep having these financial kinds of runs, being like, "This history course is brought to you by," like you get Doritos again. People buy Doritos, right?
There's your DP scoreboard, exactly.
Feel the burn.
That backtrack was brought to you by Dunlop.
Burned rubber.
There you go! Exclamation error in chat. First corporate sponsor.
Sweet.
Love how we went straight to how we could make money. It's the only thing I ever think about, Slam Man, is lasers and money. Yeah. All right. What about the love of the game?
I like money.
Yeah.
That's how we got there.
I mean,
Yeah.
I love it when the love of the game is brought to you by the Coca-Cola company. That's when I love of the game. Yeah. All right. What was the other thing you said? That was it, right? Sponsorship. Oh, and superstars.
Yeah, that was it. Mm-hmm.
Nah, there's no real true superstars yet. They're yet to come. This is the league of the future. We're bringing this players through the high school and then college leagues that will no doubt predate. I'm trying to think of the word. Doesn't matter.
It's very amusing.
Proceed.
It's very amusing watching you struggle for it, and me and DK just sitting here going.
I was looking at both of you, and neither of you give me.
What are you doing, Steve?
That's all right.
No, it's fine.
Nope.
We'll have an entire other generation we can exploit for their athletic abilities, and then just spit them out with no financial knowledge for them to ruin themselves in their 40s.
That's Space Marines, baby. I like how the league age average is gonna like dramatically decrease from what it currently is by like 20 years. So what was your I'm loving it moment from that match? Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Doritos Locos tacos crunchy resupply of the game.
That resupply was crunchy.
Oh, that was crunchy.
These Fit Athletes brought to you by KFC.
KFC, a major name sponsor of the NRL here in Australasia, and every time they go to do a video, try. I'm struggling. I'm struggling for words. Let's end this fucking show. Right.
I'm down. All right. See you later, everybody.
Thank you guys so much for Bunker. Yeah, that shit. Thanks guys so much for like indulging us today. Because when I had the idea, I was like, this is kind of. The more I thought about it, the more I really loved it. And
We've
I'm
all
glad
thought of it before.
Yeah.
We've all fantasized.
Yeah. What if I could get paid to play Laser
finishing your
Force?
Space Marines game and then going to bed on your giant pile of money.
Exactly
money.
right. Exactly right. Right. So will we be back over the week for more streams? Hopefully we play some laser tag this week. I doubt it. Although if Morange is unavailable, that's usually when we get to play laser tag. So we'll see. We might be all right. Hopefully the COVID's not too bad, bro. Hopefully it's not too bad. One of us wins $1 billion.
Yeah, because the
U.S. Mega Millions jackpot, it's way up there.
It's like 1.1 billion. So of course, I mean, it's not worth it when it's only 400 million, 500 million, 600 million.
Chump change.
Yeah.
Chump change. It cracked $1 billion, and I'm not gonna lie, I went and bought 10 tickets because why the fuck not at that point?
Chump change. After taxes, better not winning. Yeah.
After taxes on the cash value, because the cash value, if you
taxes to end the show, really,
cash value if you don't take the annuity is like 600 odd million. After taxes, you end up with like only like 350 million if you take the cash. Oh no!
Oh my god!
Oh no!
House.
Oh no!
Terrible.
If someone does win, buy Than's house. Yeah, because you'll be doing them a solid. Plus, you get to live in Texas, which I hear is really cool. You can
It's
be
not.
one of the very first Dallas Diodes diehard fans. Thanks, guys, so much for hanging out with us today. We will be back with more content over the coming week. But for this week, I've hypothetically been Guy Next Door.
I've been the CEO of the Sacramento Gold Diggers.
And I've been Than, talking about taxes.
Always remember to backtrack, kids, and also remember that we hate the Tallahassee totem. We'll see you next week. Ka kite anō.
I've been throwing daggers in the night. I've been chasing all the stars, stealing all their lights. The cut so sharp, cut so deep. If they seem to hit their target, it must be what we reap. 'Cause you don't know what I know. You don't feel the way I feel. And all these places I wanna go makes me wonder if my looks could kill. I've been throwing daggers in my dreams. If they seem to hit their target, it's harder than it seems. You don't know what I know. You don't feel the way I feel. In all these places I wanna go makes me wonder if my looks could kill. I'm a well-known stranger, walking my own